What do you consider to be like the most important way to generate motivation?
I think it sounds a bit like a depressing answer, but I don't think you can rely on motivation. I think showing up is probably the most important thing. Showing up when you don't feel motivated.
Yeah. Showing
up when you haven't had the greatest day. Showing up when you got out of bed a little bit later than you thought you might. Showing up when the kids are playing up. You don't always feel motivated.
You always feel motivated after you've showed up. So like, I'm like a broken record, I say this all the time. And I actually made a video like a couple months ago saying, you know, show up regardless of the situation. So last thing I want to do is like go to the heath and train because I've got all of this to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. And remember that feeling afterwards, like, it felt so good. You just want to do it again, right?
Yeah.
You know, like so many people make, it's excuses, right?
Yeah, for sure. I can't, even when, for myself and I guess for people that I've trained, I've never known someone to leave a session and say, I wish I hadn't have done that. That just never happens. So not every session is going to be 100% exactly what you thought it would be. But if you're not feeling motivated, your standards are set quite low, but you show up anyway, surely anything you achieve after that is going to be a sense of achievement. And I just think in the times where I haven't been bothered to train, or I'm like, oh, I can't be arsed with this one, or I'm not feeling strong, I'm not going to be able to lift heavy. Anything I do surprises me. Do you know what I mean? So I haven't felt motivated, but I've shown up anyway. And then you just have a sense of achievement of like, oh, I actually went through with that. Exactly.
You can always have that. You can overanalyze like, what is my purpose for the workout? What's this, that, and it can be a bit overwhelming, right? But just having that baseline of, I'm just going to show up and see what happens, because I never know what could happen. I might meet someone new, or you know, they might share some perspective that I didn't even think of that, right? And I'm going to try that.
Sure.
Reflecting on that, I showed up. That was my number one job. And showing up, it generates, so it sparks motivation, right? So I always say to people, you know, show up regardless, unless obviously, you know, I'm a family man. Like there are certain limitations.
Like there might be 5% of the time where.
Absolutely. Like my boy, he's 15 months now. He's been really ill recently. So I always say make time versus find time, because you can never find time. You always wait till next Monday. But you can make like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Like just do something more than nothing, even with, you know, like a busy work schedule, things happening at home, family, kids, everything. Like leave, even if you just like, I don't know, there's a class happening or something online and you jump in. I'm sorry, I'm like 10 minutes late, whatever, you made it, you showed up. And obviously that is going to spark like motivation.
I mean, I've had clients even recently where, you know, people are back at the office now and stuff like that. And I've had clients show up and say, particularly for the morning sessions, really sorry, but today I've got to leave at 7:45 because, you know, I've got a meeting at 8:30, I need to go home, get dressed, etc. But I think it's brilliant that they didn't cancel the session. They just let me know, okay, I need to leave a tiny bit early. That's fine. I can let you know sort of stretching that you want to be doing at home. But you've shown up regardless, because anything is better than nothing. I don't know. And obviously you give the example of like having a kid and stuff. And obviously I don't have children. I have a huge amount of respect for people that do. But I know in my life as someone who doesn't have kids, you're still full of excuses. And the thing is with excuses is they are legit. There's reason behind them. If you have a sick child, or you have a headache, or you're feeling unwell, or even if your energy's low, no one's saying that isn't a good excuse. And like you said, there are times, particularly when kids are involved, where you simply can't do it. You can't do it. You can't leave your partner with the kid, or maybe you're a single parent, so there isn't that option. But on the other hand, myself as someone who doesn't have kids and maybe has slightly less responsibilities in that way, I know for a fact I am still full of excuses. And at the time, no one can tell me that excuse isn't legit. So even the example of I had an osteopath appointment this morning, not for a particular injury, but just because I booked it in because I thought, you know, they kind of give you a bit of a deep tissue massage and I needed a bit of, you know, maneuvering around. And I was just like, okay, let me just take half an hour appointment, little bit of time for myself, before I, you know, get on with my day. And I woke up that morning, woke up in time, and all these thoughts started rushing through my head. You know, the train journey to get there was 5 minutes. Door to door, 20 minutes total. Not too much effort. Once I'm there, it's going to be relaxed. I'm going to be lying there. Someone's going to be massaging me. Fantastic experience. I don't even have the excuse of I can't be bothered to work hard, because all I've got to do is lie there and someone's going to make me feel good. Like, that's literally it. But even then, I was like, no, but like, I've actually had a really busy week, so maybe I'll just spend a bit longer in bed, or but the train's probably really busy because there's going to be commuters and I don't really want to travel today, or maybe I've got a cough.
Exactly.
Corona.
Yeah.
No, I'm fine. I just couldn't be bothered. I don't know why I couldn't be bothered. And it was something that I had in my diary that was to make me feel good, to help me in my journey, to make me feel mentally fit, physically fit. It wasn't a huge commitment, but even that, the excuses I was creating in my head, and I laugh at them now, but at the time, I was honestly having to reason with myself, like, and be like, no, but yeah, you've had a really busy week, you've worked so hard.
Yeah.
And why do we do that? Because you have kids, and I know for a fact that when Finn gets a bit older and, you know, he wants to start football or dancing or some sort of extracurricular activity, and he's excited to go each week and he wants to go, okay, time to go, Dad. There's not a chance, unless you're deathly ill or something serious has happened, there's not a chance that you're going to say to him 15 minutes before you're about to leave the house, do you know what, son, not today. Do you know what, Dad's got a bit of a headache, not really, but bit of a headache, or, you know, I've had a bit of a long day, you know what, like, I can't really be bothered, we'll do it next week.
Yeah.
The amount of disappointment you know your son would feel, and the fact that you know something like that is good for him, you're not going to cancel, you're going to take him unless you're on death's door, right? Why do we not do that for ourselves?
Absolutely.
Why, when you've got an appointment for yourself, do a lot of us, I can't speak for you, so maybe you can shed some light on it, but for me, like, it's so hard to reason with yourself on why you should make that appointment, why you should honour yourself, and because when you made that plan, you did respect yourself and want something better. When you sign up with you know, I had to do some rehab 6 months, a year ago, and I got a personal trainer to help me with that. And at the time I was like, yeah, this is a really good investment in yourself. This is a good way to spend your money because you need to be fit and healthy. Every single week before I went, I was trying to reason myself out of it. I wouldn't do that for a child. Or my mum.
Exactly. And like a couple of things you said then, it's like I realized even outside of the lifestyle kind of spectrum, just like just everyday friends and things like that, how often did one of your friends WhatsApp you and they're like, do you fancy like going out for food next Saturday? Your instant response is always going to be, oh yeah, that sounds great. But when it comes to it, I wish I had said, no, I really just don't want to do it. But you do it anyway because you can't let that person down. And then afterwards you went, that was great. Like next time I know that
you're energized.
It's spending quality time with good people, and that makes you feel good. And obviously distance yourself from you know, people that draw that out of you, like completely the opposite, but that's another subject. I'm just saying, like, you know, you did it anyway, and next time you know that, you know, it's never going to be as bad as, nothing you do is ever going to be as bad as you think it's going to be, and then you show up and do it anyway. And coming back to that thing of, you know, if you say yes to something, you honor it, right? There are going to be times where you have to step out, but, you know, you get people kind of pulling out things like 15 minutes before something happens, and obviously, like you're saying, they're doing a disservice to themselves and to you and to the other people around them. It's just like honor that and show up when you say yes to something and you have, you know, made an appointment. Like you say, you're not going to bail on your kids or family or anything. You're going to be there regardless, right?
100%, yeah. I think though the issue that we sometimes have, and I know I'm very much like this, we're very all or nothing. So we're either like can't be bothered, or we want to go in and give absolutely 100% and nothing less. So, you know, when you have something planning, you think, oh, I've got a bit of a headache coming on, I don't feel too bad, but I probably won't be able to push as much as I want to, so I'm not going to go. Or, you know, I've got a little bit of period pains and it's not too bad, but it probably means I can't do too much jumping, and that, don't jump that day then. Right? You can still have, and I know when clients have come in and, you know, they've said to me, don't feel too well today, I've got a bit of a headache, I've had a long day at work, I always congratulate them on, you've done the hard part, you've shown up. And then, you know, us as trainers, we're not then going to be like, 25 burpees, don't stop, even if you feel sick. Okay.
Well,
but
maybe
often
20.
you'll find that actually people can still do that. But, you know, if someone comes in and they say, I've got a migraine, my natural response is, okay, well done for being here. If at any point you need to take a step back, have a little sit down, sit around out, don't do any jumping, that's fine. And actually they realise not every workout has to be 110%. 20% is fine. Just show up and do it. You're still going to benefit.
Do something more than nothing is what I always say to people. You know, it's, again, like, you know, when you show up and you really, really didn't want to, again, you just have that feeling afterwards. It's like, well, I know that I don't always have to push to, not to 100%, but to my 100%. We can so easily cancel on ifs and buts and conditionals, like you said, but I might not be able to, but you might be able to. So just show up and do it anyway. And I feel like in fitness, we spoke about this earlier, you know, like in your list of priorities, fitness generally is the first thing that goes, right? Because it's the easiest thing to go. But actually, it's probably the most important thing.
Why is it the easiest thing to go?
I am literally...
I completely agree. On the weeks that I feel like I had some uni deadlines recently that was work that was due in... I did it far too late, as always. But you're exactly right. Fitness was the last thing to go. Now, okay, yes, I was bogged down that week. And yes, I did spend about 7 or 8 hours a day writing essays. However... did I also have time to watch Netflix for multiple hours a day?
And scroll through Instagram.
Yes, I did.
Surely.
Did I have time to lie in my bed at all hours of the night, scrolling? Yes, I did.
Constantly.
But somehow I went, do you know what? I won't do too much exercise this week. Don't know if I did any at all. Let me do it next. Like when these essays are in, then I'll go hard. But actually, a couple of days into that, I thought... my mental health, I felt bogged down and I felt actually sitting in a chair all day. My body was hurting. It needed movement. And so now I am someone that relies more on that consistency and that discipline rather than motivation. When I have even just a couple of days where I think, oh, let's just leave out, my body suffers. It gets tight. It gets sore because my body's used to that movement now. And I went through I had the COVID 2 or 3 months ago now, and my body's felt quite weak since. And I know you've got to be careful coming out of that and long COVID and all that kind of thing. But I thought, I'm not going to lift heavy weights. I'm not going to train 6 days a week. Do maximum 3, and I'm going to go about 50% of what I would usually do. Because I thought that was sensible. Keep going, but reduce the intensity a lot. And because I couldn't rely on my ego, because I couldn't be deadlifting heavy, I couldn't be sprinting, I needed to look after my body, the only thing I required of myself was to show up 3 times a week. And you can't get an ego boost out of that, because when you go from training every single day to then being like, all I'm going to allow myself is 3 times a week, for me, that was a massive drop. So I didn't feel particularly fit. I didn't feel motivated. 3 times, it felt like a chore because... you know, I didn't want to pick up heavy weights. I just wanted to ease myself back in. But then actually there hit a point a couple of weeks ago, I was feeling a little bit better, still not massively motivated. And I suddenly looked in the mirror and I thought, you're looking amazing at the moment. And I hadn't felt that in months because my training wasn't great. I wasn't eating brilliant, but I'd still been quite consistent with what I was doing. And then it suddenly hit a point where I was like, you know, 5-6 weeks into that. And I thought, yeah, you're looking all right, you're doing good. And then that sort of gave me a bit more motivation to now I'm feeling a bit better to then step it up a notch. But just knowing that consistency, you don't have to give 100% every time. Yeah,
you're finding that balance between all and nothing. And there's nothing and there's all and then there's something. And it's doing something, as I said before. You know, going for a walk or a power walk, even if you don't feel well, you are guaranteed going to feel better. So,
and if you don't feel well, there's nothing better than some sort of stretching.
Stretching,
do you know
eat good food.
You don't even have to sweat.
Drink water.
On your floor, hold your stomach, hold what hurts, practice your breathing, practice your stretching.
Exactly.
That actually will probably make you feel better.
Or even like worst case scenario, you don't want to do anything at all and you happen to be on YouTube and whatever, going down the rabbit hole of like Watch Mojo, top 5 TV shows, whatever. Watch something that's going to help and just move the needle a little bit, or self-development, or spend a bit of time reading, or just doing, again, something that's going to make you feel better. Or again, have a great conversation with a great person. Like another thing we did the other a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, you leave a conversation with someone feeling pumped, motivated. Well, obviously that person had some value to you. You want more of that. So get on the phone with someone, or just do something that's good for you. Just doing something, right?
I think the thing is with motivation though, if you're waiting for motivation, it honestly never comes.
Never.
I mean, me and you are different, right? Because you're like Mr. Positive, and you are actually, I feel like you are a motivated person. I'm on the complete other spectrum of that. So quite bad mental health, suffer with depression. I don't think I've ever been motivated for anything in my life. Like, I'm a musician, I've never been motivated to practice. But I knew that if I wanted to be a good piano player, you don't get anywhere by not practicing. So I practiced. And when I was incredibly overweight, the reason why I was overweight and very unhealthy for so long is I'd sign up for the gym, I'd be really motivated, and it would last for about half an hour. And then outside of that motivation, I was like, well, I'll wait until I feel like I want to go. And that's what I see in, you know, friends and family members who want to get started and they're super pumped. But I'm always like, what are you going to do when you're not super pumped?
And
What then?
that comes very quickly.
Because life is shit sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even if you're not a depressed person, that's hard enough if you are. But even if everything, you are mentally on top of the world most of the time, look at the last 18 months, 2 years with the virus. You know, we're not getting in our daily steps unless we're making effort to be disciplined in that. We're not motivated to fit into the new pair of jeans because we're not being social. It doesn't matter if we put on a couple of stone because it's only maybe you that's going to see. Like, we don't have to impress other people. So you're only relying on yourself, which is a lot harder. But I think that's why, I don't know, particularly in these times, having a personal trainer is super important. It's easy for me to say because it's my job. And I believe in it. But
100%.
Even just accountability with your partner or your close friend or...
You can easily reach out to someone like, a family member can be a little bit different sometimes because they'll say what you want to hear, not what you need to. Sometimes a friend might be better, or even, a coach, or, I don't know, like an acquaintance, right? They'll say it as it is. Again, something you said a minute ago, you can never wait. Like, motivation is so fleeting. Just like, it's an emotion, right? It's just like happiness and disappointment and anger and love and all of these things, and they are fleeting, and you constantly have to top it up, right? Monday will never come. If you're waiting for next Monday, that wedding that you're trying to get in shape for, I need to get in shape before that wedding. I'll start on Monday. I'll start next Monday. You never show up. No. Like, just show up. Like, it's simple as, right?
I think though, at the beginning of my fitness journey, it suddenly clicked for me when I recall a time where I was super motivated. It was probably the 1st of January or something. And I was like, next year I'm going to lose this weight, I'm going to get fit, and I'm going to do this, this, and this. And I remember then the following year came, and I was in the same place. And I was like, imagine what position I'd be in now if every time over the last 12 months, when I didn't feel like it, I still did it. I would be a healthy weight. I would feel on top of my mental situation. I would probably be better to family and friends and partner and all the rest of it. And I think sometimes, particularly with kids, you probably feel like they need your attention 24/7, which I'm sure they do. But I would guess that probably the fitter and healthier you are, the better dad you are by far. That's without a shadow of a doubt.
My ultimate drive. I mean, I love training, as you know. I don't need motivation to train. I just do it, and I just love it. That's the 20-minute time. We'll carry on for a couple of minutes, but I just do it. I show up and I do it, and even if I don't want to, I do it. And there are times, where I just like, okay, I'm not going to do it, but I'm not going to book into something and not show up. But like you can always make that little extra time, and obviously, that's going to have a major effect on my relationship with my wife, and we have our ups and downs just like anyone else, right? fitness doesn't give you all of the happiness in the world, and yeah, I'm a positive person, but I have my moments, right?
It teaches you how to push through hard times.
Absolutely, but I'm terrible to be around if I haven't trained. I'm like a child, like literally, But yeah, absolutely. It's going to have a major effect on every area of your life. So,
I guess what we're saying is that your reasons for training can easily turn into excuses. So one of your reasons would be you want to be a good, healthy dad who's alive for a long time to see your son grow up. However, what's really sad about that is for a lot of people that then gets distorted into why you wouldn't show up. Because, and that, I guess that's where the long-term conflicts with the short-term goals sometimes, because long-term, ideally in 20 years' time, you still want to be here, you still want to be healthy and fit and running around after your son and potentially other kids, and do you know what I mean, that living a really healthy life. However, tomorrow it might be that Finn's unwell, he's crying, your wife's gone somewhere, and you think, nah, not today. But actually you're forgetting that your long-term goal is actually to be the best parent that you can.
Absolutely.
Right.
And right now, as of now, obviously this is not a timeless piece of content, but intensity is starting tomorrow, 28 days. 28 days, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, it's going to happen regardless.
Yeah, time just passes.
Just show up and do it anyway. And, I think we can pretty much leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the next batch of content.
Can't wait.
Amazing.
We're just going to ramble on and share all our thoughts.
Hopefully share some value, some perspective. Good to go. I feel motivated.
Really different. So if this is Mr. Motivated and I'm like...
I'm Mr. Virtual, apparently. Just come to London for the day, but
yeah, that's true.
yeah, till next time.
Cool. Yeah, sick. Nice.
Boom.